Picture Sandringham at Christmas. The gravel crunches under black shoes. Breath hangs in the cold Norfolk air. Cameras line the path. And there, walking a deliberate half-step behind King Charles and Queen Camilla, is Princess Anne, jaw set, eyes forward, saying absolutely nothing. That image told you everything and nothing at the same time, because what the cameras captured that morning was not simply a family walk to church. According to sources close to the palace, it was the latest scene in a confrontation that had been quietly building for months, one that has now reportedly reached a point of no return between the Princess Royal and the woman who sits beside her brother on the throne. And if the insiders are right, Sandringham is not just where this story was photographed, it is where it finally broke open. To understand what is happening now, you need to understand the ground it is happening on. Sandringham House, the sprawling Norfolk estate that the royal family has retreated to every winter for over a century, is not a palace in the traditional sense. It is not owned by the Crown Estate, the government-managed portfolio of royal properties. Sandringham is private property, passed directly from sovereign to sovereign as a personal inheritance. Queen Elizabeth II left it to King Charles personally when she died in September 2022. That distinction matters enormously because it means decisions about who occupies its wings, who attends its gatherings, and who is made to feel welcome. There are personal decisions, not institutional ones. For decades, that private nature made Sandringham something of a sanctuary. The family gathered there at Christmas and again in the New Year, away from the formality of Windsor and the relentless scrutiny of London. It was the place where the late Queen felt most herself, where corgis ran through hallways and grandchildren knew the gardens by heart. And it was the place where Princess Anne, more than perhaps any other member of the family, learned what it meant to belong. She has been attending those Christmas gatherings her entire life. She knows every corridor. She understands every unspoken rule. And according to palace insiders, when she began to feel those rules were being rewritten without her consent, or her family's, she did not stay quiet. The tension between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla did not arrive suddenly. It has been simmering in the background of the modern monarchy for a long time, and most of the public has simply not been watching the right corner of the room. Anne, now 75, has never been someone who disguises her feelings with the diplomatic language that palace communication departments prefer. She says what she believes. Quietly, often without headlines, but with a directness that people around her have never been able to mistake. Royal biographer Richard Kay noted as much in his reporting for the Daily Mail, writing that Anne has cultivated what he described as a notably independent-minded approach when it comes to decisions she disagrees with, even when those decisions come from the most senior levels of the family. And right now, according to multiple palace sources reported by IB Times UK, Radar Online, and Heat magazine, Anne believes something is very wrong. The issue, as insiders have described it in June 2026, centers on two women, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, the daughters of the now former Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. If you have been following royal news this year, you will have noticed something. Beatrice and Eugenie have been conspicuously absent from events they have attended for years. They were not at Royal Ascot, the annual horse racing festival in Berkshire that has long been a fixture on the extended royal family's calendar. They were not at the Chelsea Flower Show, one of London's most photographed society occasions. They were not at the Easter service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor in April, stepping back so as to not, as sources told The Times, overshadow proceedings. No official explanation was given for any of these absences. The palace offered nothing. And that silence, according to sources, was itself a message. Those close to Princess Anne reportedly believe the message was sent by someone with a great deal of influence over how the family operates right now. And the name being whispered behind those palace walls, according to insiders quoted by IB Times UK and Reality Tea, is Queen Camilla. This is the moment worth pausing on, because this is where most coverage has skimmed the surface without going deeper. Beatrice and Eugenie are not working royals. They never have been in the formal sense. They do not receive public funding. They hold down private careers, raise their families, and appear at royal events as extended family members rather than official representatives of the crown. For years that arrangement functioned without drama, but now their father Andrew has been stripped of his royal titles in October 2025 and arrested in February of this year in connection with alleged misconduct. and their mother, Sarah Ferguson, has been navigating her own very public difficulties alongside him. The question of what happens to Beatrice and Eugenie in that environment is genuinely complicated. King Charles has been working since his accession to streamline what he calls the slimmed-down monarchy. Fewer working royals, fewer public engagements, a tighter circle at the centre of the institution. Where Beatrice and Eugenie fit in that vision has never been clearly defined. But there is a difference, according to sources close to Princess Anne, between a structural decision about the future of the monarchy and what appears to be happening now. What she reportedly sees is not a policy, it is a punishment. If you have been watching this channel for a while, you know we do not sensationalize what can be told plainly. We do not invent palace drama when the real story is compelling enough on its own. And right now, I want you to subscribe if you have not already. Not because of a script countdown, but because the stories we are tracking at this moment in the monarchy are some of the most consequential in years. The button is right there, and the next few months are going to matter. According to palace insiders quoted this month across multiple outlets, Princess Anne does not believe this exclusion of Beatrice and Eugenie reflects the king's own instincts. That detail changes everything. The source quoted in Heat magazine and repeated by IB Times UK says Anne does not blame King Charles. She believes reportedly that the hardline treatment of the York sisters is coming from somewhere else. And she believes, according to a palace aide quoted by Radar Online, that Queen Camilla is calling the shots on this particular question. The exact words attributed to those close to Anne are striking. One insider said she views the treatment of her nieces as awful and cruel. Another said Anne doesn't take kindly to someone she sees as an outsider being cruel to them. That phrase, outsider, is carrying enormous weight in those two words.